when you and I started working together back in 2010 officially at Fox Business Network, our initial program that we produced there was the Tea Party Summit. It was the rise of politicians like Justin Amash, Thomas Massey, Congressman Ron Paul came into national popularity. Senator Rand Paul was elected. We had Governor of Alaska Sarah Palin sitting across from you endorsing ending the Federal Reserve System. The Liberty Movement was very
Right.
it was very much at its height. But since then, it appears that the power has shifted away from the liberty movement towards a new, more populist movement here. Many libertarians are endorsing and supporting this populist movement. Congressman Ron Paul actually endorsed the populist candidate in Arizona, Blake Masters, who's running against Mark Kelly, leading some to believe that the Pat Buchanans of the Republican Party have very much have common cause with libertarians. And, that has a lot to do with the fact that, the Pat Buchanans and the paleo conservatives have agreed with libertarians on foreign policy. They have a very much an America first view when it comes to foreign policy that jives very much with, non-intervention, as you and I believe, in terms of the role of the American military in foreign affairs. You and I are Jeffersonians. I'm using a lot of big words here, but I'm building up to something because I'm very curious, Judge, how you feel about this new populist movement, noting that it has roots in not just Pat Buchanan, but in the paleo strategy of Murray Rothbard and others in his late years in life. Many people like Ron Paul and others find common cause with these paleo conservatives, despite the fact that they disagree with us on things like fiscal conservatism, and they're the type of social conservatives that disagree with our views on things like gay marriage or what have you, or transgender people and their ability to conduct their affairs in society. So I wonder, do you sort of track along with the idea that we have common cause with this populist or paleo conservative movement because of these agreements with them on foreign policy and other affairs? Or do you think that we should stand on our own, distinct and separate because of the important distinctions between these groups?
The roots of these groups is not Murray Rothbard, it's Theodore Roosevelt, uh, one of the worst presidents in American history, one of the true perverters of the Constitution, trying to outdo his nemesis, Woodrow Wilson and William McKinley, the progressive era personified by the so called Republican Roosevelt was one of the most damaging in American history, and it continues to damage us today. So I profoundly disagree with our libertarian colleagues who have moved in this direction and have debated loud and long with them to the point where I'm really kind of tired of doing it. I mean, libertarians who support Donald Trump or big government Republicans or Republicans who want to tell us how to live from their version. Josh Hawley is a perfect, paradigmatic example of this. These people are not libertarians. They are Democrats calling themselves Republicans because they believe in the power of government to tell you how to live. And they believe that government is presumed to be moral and correct. Because government is the negation of liberty, Murray Rothbard, government, although it's actually a phrase from von Mises, but Rothbard used it many times. Government is presumed to be immoral and presumed to be wrong. Everything government has it is stolen. Everything the government has it is taken. It doesn't exist for our benefit. It exists for its own benefit to expand its power and to regulate us. And this variant of Pat Buchanan and Blake Masters, I can't use Ron Paul's name in the same breath, but this variant of Republican is nefarious and dangerous and needs to be exposed for what it truly is.
So then, Judge, you must have been deeply concerned then in the late 1990s when Murray Rothbard endorsed Pat Buchanan and endorsed what we call the paleo conservative strategy. I mean, he wrote extensively about, getting, the rednecks, involved in the liberty movement because we shared common cause with them to a certain extent. So, I don't know how you felt at the time or if you were paying attention at the time, but you must have been aware, of the paleo strategy of, the Rockwellians and the Rothbardians. So, to your mind, that was a departure from libertarianism. Is that correct?
Even though some of the names are the gold standard in libertarian thinking, like Murray Rothbard and Lou Rockwell, yes, it was a departure. And there was a dramatic departure when Trump ran against Hillary. And people like Walter Block, who's the most libertarian human being on the planet, started some group called Libertarian Academics for Trump, and he had 4,000 signatures. What libertarian in their right mind could vote for an authoritarian? But many of them did. I think they were deeply disappointed in his presidency because of all the issues that were brought on, mainly by his personality. Nevertheless, people who believe in government cannot be considered libertarians and cannot be defenders of personal liberty. Now, I recognize that an election is a choice. You have a choice between Hillary and Trump. You have a choice between Biden and Trump. There's always a lesser party candidate running. If it's Ron Paul, you vote for him with glee. If it's some libertarian you never heard of, you just sort of check the box and move on. But to support publicly the idea that the government can tell us how to live is antithetical to the view that the individual is sovereign rather than the state.
These are the conversations that you will not get on any other show, perhaps save Judging Freedom, the Judges podcast themselves at judgenap.com. Judge, thank you for your point of view. Thank you for sharing your heart with us. We appreciate you very much.
All the best, Austin. Talk to you soon.
You as well. Do you like Judge Napolitano? Send us a text.